pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Can you guys hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Beta Alpha Psi meeting. Today we have Emily here to speak with us. Sorry, I didn't know we had another speaker coming in as well, but we have two people from CohnReznick coming here to speak with us today. So whenever you guys are ready, you could screen share. I gave you permission to do so. So or whatever you have, you can go ahead and get started.
Hit share. This is not right.
No, that's the wrong meeting, so it won't show.
Alright. So, hi everyone.
Sorry, we're not ready. You.
It's gonna let me as of our.
Okay. Let me sign in here. Take this off. This doesn't work, but I'm gonna do this.
Sorry, we're working through technical difficulties here.
It's okay. Whenever you guys are ready, though, you could just go straight into it.
Yeah, so just nobody on the forum campus is able to see what Kai is going to share yet is the problem. So we're working on that.
No worries.
It's not, where's the mouse here?
So just to confirm, Damien or Emily, can you hear me on your end?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
I can hear you, just the larger group cannot hear or see you.
But in a moment, they'll be able to.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
No, we didn't change the.
Try yours.
Okay, can you guys hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys well.
Okay,
can
we're
hear
having
you.
a problem, so I was just asking.
Which audio?
Okay, that might be better.
Talk.
Can you guys talk?
Yeah, testing.
We cannot hear them.
Well, we can't hear because it's only coming out of here.
It's only coming out of here.
Yeah, so how does the?
Okay.
Hello.
That's me.
Okay. I can hear you, Emily.
Okay, because the other microphone was on and I wasn't on, but I'm standing next to the other microphone. So I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, maybe we can hear, okay.
Wait, but Dr. Collier, can you mute your phone?
It is muted. I will mute it again.
Thank you. Okay,
It's muted.
now Kai, can you talk one more time to see if we can hear you?
Yes, so can you hear me?
Can everyone hear him?
Yeah.
Going to be faint, but this is how it's gonna have to be. Okay. Sorry, everybody. That was fun. Thanks for bearing with us. Kai, I think we're ready if you are.
Should I move the sign out? Need me on this.
Okay.
I'm all set on my end. Can you see the presentation now?
We can see it.
Okay, perfect. So again, apologies everyone for the delay, but hopefully the wait was worth it. And so as a reminder, for those of you I haven't met, I know I've come to campus and also virtually interacted with many of you, but my name's Kiegh Dudley. I'm a senior campus recruiter here at CohnReznick. I oversee our recruiting efforts for all of our New York and New Jersey offices. But I more recently stepped into this role. In terms of my background, I'll kick it off and then actually would love to have my colleagues join in today's session as well. But I'm a licensed CPA by trade, started here right out of college as an entry-level audit associate.
Yes.
After 4 busy seasons in audit, switched over to one of our advisory groups where I did some consulting work for a couple of years as well, primarily in the mergers and acquisitions, financial due diligence space. And so that's my professional background. Really excited to be here with you all again today to share more insight about the firm and also hopefully add some value, right? Highlight some things you should and could be thinking about now as students that will bode well for you, not just in the recruiting process, but as you transition into the world of public accounting, right? And so Emily, I don't know if you and Sam want to jump in. You can give some background on you and your experiences throughout your career thus far as well.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Sickinger. I actually graduated from FDU in 2021 and then was lucky enough to stay here another year and graduate in 2022 with my master's. I interned at CohnReznick in winter of 2021, and it was the best experience possible. And I was fortunate enough to receive a full-time offer after that, and that's how I ended up starting there in August of 2022. So I'm on the assurance side. I started in the financial services practice. So all of my clients are hedge funds, private equity funds. I do a little bit of fund-to-fund investments, venture capital, things like that. And I've been there ever since. I'm a senior associate now, and it's just been a lot of fun. So now I'll let Sam introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Hampson. I just started with the firm a little over a year ago, last October 2024. So I am an audit associate right now in the same industry as Emily, the financial services group. I completed 2 internships with CohnReznick, both in the summer of 22 and summer of 23. My first summer internship, I was not on the financial services industry, and I was actually able to talk to Kai, and he helped me out and to get me where I eventually wanted to be, and which is where I'm at right now. So yeah, it's a little bit about me, and great. Cool.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate the introductions, team. And again, we want to start with that just so you kind of know who's here hosting you today from the firm. But with that being said, first and foremost, who are we, right? So CohnReznick, we are a leading professional services firm, right? And so what does that entail? So within the public accounting industry, a lot of the top firms, the services we offer to our clients, and from your perspective as students, the way I would interpret that is the main 3 areas in which there are career opportunities fall into 3 buckets, right? One being audit and assurance, the second being tax, and the third being advisory. Some firms also call that consulting, right? But here at CohnReznick, we've got over 5,000 employees, 350 plus partners and principals. And we're no small firm by any feat. We're a billion-dollar firm and growing rapidly. And in terms of our geographical footprint, here in the US, we are spread across 32 offices. And just to give you a visual aid of what that sort of looks like, this essentially is where we are within the country. But we're also the largest member firm of a global alliance called Nexia International, right? So when you think about international opportunities or servicing clients that might have operations outside the US, et cetera, we also have that capability through this alliance we're a part of. And again, we're the leading and largest firm in that alliance, which gives us a lot of influence over the quality of service we're providing to clients, not only in the US, but internationally. And so wanted to just highlight that for you as well. But in terms of who we are by way of culture, what brings us together, what sort of shared vision every employee at CohnReznick embodies, it boils down to three things, right? Essentially, we want to create opportunities first and foremost for our people. As you heard Sam sort of mention, right? He interned with us first go round, had a great experience with the firm, but developed an interest in a particular industry. And we were able to accommodate that, right? Give him a second internship in financial services, which he realized he really enjoyed. And that's where he's now launched his career full time. So that's just a quick example of our first essential mission statement, right? Creating opportunities for our people. But two other pillars we sort of stand on is also trying to provide forward-thinking solutions, ultimately with the goal of adding value for our clients. So that's step number two. And then lastly, we like giving back as a firm, right? And the way we do that is we aim to strengthen the communities we both work and live. So those are really the three things we tend to focus on here. And in terms of our external services we provide to clients, this slide really helps depict all the different industries we go about providing those services. And again, this is across audit and assurance, tax, as well as advisory. Our bread and butter, so we're a firm, we've been around over 100 years, founded back in 1919. In fact, one of our founders, J.H. Cohn, he was one of the first CPAs, which, I don't know, it's kind of a fun fact we like to share. But our roots are really in the commercial real estate and affordable housing industries. Back in 2012 was actually when our two founding firms, J.H. Cohn and the Reznick Group, merged together to create what's now known as CohnReznick. But at the core of those two firms, they were servicing those two industries. And so to this day, again, both commercial real estate and affordable housing are our largest, but by no means does that mean that's all we service as a firm. The way I like to think of it, truthfully, is it's easier to remember the industries we don't service, and it really boils down to a couple, one being banks and the other being insurance companies. And even that, I'm hearing that might be changing soon, where we might start to dabble. So with that being said, you've already heard from both Emily and Sam, right? They specifically work in the financial services space. I myself, when I was on the client service side, did a lot in our champ practice, right? So I dealt with a lot of consumer and retail products, manufacturing, hospitality. Also got involved with some technology and media, as well as cannabis clients, especially when I switched to advisory. And so we really do run the gamut and offer a broad array of industries you can get exposure to. And when you feel compelled, to really commit to a particular industry, or if you're working in one and want to get exposure to another, I think hopefully, already based on the testimonial of myself and my career path, as well as Sam's, raise your hand. We have that sort of culture where if you raise your hand, you make it known what you're interested in. I can say with great confidence, having been with the firm going on 10 years now next month, we really do a good job of trying to accommodate and reward our team members with opportunities to develop themselves and also connect their profession of public accounting to their passions and their interests. And so I'll pause there for a second because I actually think that's a great point to maybe emphasize a bit more. I don't know if Emily, you have anything you want to add in regards to the way the firm sort of supports people's development or lean into their interests.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, I guess when I interned, I wasn't in a specific service line during my internship. I kind of dabbled in everything. One of the biggest engagements I worked on during my internship was a hotel group. So that was really cool. But I didn't really think it was the right fit. And when I started full time, there was like a survey that went out and they asked basically what industry do you want to be in, and that's how I ended up in financial services, and I've loved every second of it. I do know that there are some of my colleagues on the financial services side that, they really liked auditing and they were doing it for a while, but they wanted something different, so they transitioned to our learning and development team, and they've been running our trainings now, and that's something that really is like helping them fuel their passion and keep them in the industry, which is great. I will say outside of, being able to kind of pivot your career within the firm, there's just so many opportunities for development regardless. I've really taken a role of facilitating informal trainings with staff and seniors. I try to do things like this or go meet the entry level associates and just get involved in any way that I can. And everybody that I work with is super, super supportive. And additionally, so last year I got promoted and I, wasn't sure if that was the right path for me at that point. And I had many, many candid conversations with some partners. And I know some people might think that's a little terrifying, but they're people too. And it was so, so helpful. And genuinely, like, it was the best decision ever. And like, everybody so strongly cares about your growth and development, regardless of if it's, pivoting to something different in the firm, staying in your service line, and just trying to get more opportunities, things like that.
Perfect. And now, Sam, you're basically a year into your career, full time at least. And I'd love to just ask you to speak for a moment too, because even at your level, you already gotten involved, and you're starting to build your personal brand, right? Speaking on panels to like our new interns, entry levels, et cetera. Can you just speak to maybe some of the opportunities you've already been given to increase your visibility here at the firm?
Let's do an experiment. Can you guys hear me right now?
Yes.
Okay, cool, because I'm on the other side of the room. Yeah, so to that point, I think CohnReznick does a great job of allowing everyone to kind of step into their feet a little bit, into their shoes. In that way, like if you show interest in a certain subject or improving on your communication skills, they'll put you, for Kiegh, right? He has given me access to talk to, panels, the ACE program. 2 months ago, I did a ACE program in New York City and spoke to about 100 students in New York City.
What is an ACE program?
The ACE program. So Kai's gonna hit on that in a couple slides. But just in short terms, it's high school students come into the office and get a look of what the firm is really all about. So yeah, I really love the firm in that way. Just the access and the exposure to what the people want. And I love that so far.
Perfect. Thank you, Sam. And just to clarify, I will go, as Sam mentioned, a bit more in depth in terms of what our ACE programs are, because we offer a variety of them. And we have one coming up very shortly, actually, that hopefully, if you haven't heard about it already, may pique some of your interest. But in terms of just getting back into who we are as a firm, right? So we already sort of highlighted the different service lines we offer. But again, from your perspective as students, I want you thinking about this in terms of, okay, what does that mean by way of opportunities? And so full transparency, given we are a public accounting firm, at the entry level, meaning both internships as well as full-time associate positions, 90 to 95% of our campus opportunities are within assurance and tax, right? With the remaining 5 to 10% being within advisory. And so for those opportunities in assurance and tax, you're going to see right here listed on the slide some bullet points about the nature of the work you'll be doing, right? And a lot of these terms may or may not be something that resonates with you right now, but I commend you for attending events like this, right? And I encourage you, one, to continue doing so, but even more so, connecting with professionals actually in the field doing this work, because that's really going to be the best way to get an understanding of what a day in the life entails as an auditor, as a consultant, or as a tax professional, right? The words on our website, the words on these slides, sure, great. They might give you some insight, but truthfully, having those conversations, getting those internship opportunities, attending, early identification programs like ours called ACE, which again stands for Accounting Career Exploration, those are the best ways really to start to add context and color to the words you see, on different firm slides or websites. And so wanted to just share that with you all, but then also quickly mention the fact that for advisory specifically, there seems to be a lot of interest in it, and that's been the trend as of late, just because it is open to a broader array of educational backgrounds as well, right? Whereas assurance and tax, strictly accounting focused, advisory, not only does it welcome accounting majors, but there is more flexibility there where certain groups are open to, a cybersecurity degree, finance, economics, etc. And so keep that in mind as you look for opportunities, but also I want to be forthcoming and transparent in the fact that those are even more competitive, just given there's far less of those opportunities. And the reason being the value we truly add to clients is our expertise, right? Our experience. And so although we hire at the campus level for advisory as well, truthfully, the bulk of those teams are comprised of our more experienced professionals, a lot of which, I won't say a lot, about 50% of which have transitioned, like myself, from audit, for example, into consulting, because you really do develop a strong foundation of not only accounting knowledge, but of businesses, the way they operate, certain industries, etc., through your experience as an audit or tax professional. And so just to kind of share some more insight about the type of culture we have here at the firm, right? So truthfully, our goal is always to create a deeper sense of belonging, and that can come through in a variety of ways, whether that's joining things like employee resource groups, which when I talk to students, I like to just equate them back to essentially student organizations, but now at a firm level, right? So think of it as a direct correlation. Maybe you were a member of a women in business club in college. We have a CR Women Employee Resource Group, right, here at CohnReznick. It's very similar in the sense that the way your student organizations are student-led and run, although you possibly have a faculty advisor, et cetera, here at the firm, our employee resource groups, they're internal networks of professionals, right? You can join on a voluntary basis. They're all employee-led, but then they're partner sponsored, right? So think of the partners sponsoring those groups as the faculty advisors you would have on campus. And very much similarly, those groups are based on perhaps different shared interests, perhaps different shared, ethnic or racial backgrounds, industry expertise, etc. These are just more opportunities and ways to connect with people perhaps you don't necessarily work with on a day-to-day basis, right? I've gotten great mentors out of joining things like not only our employee resource groups, but office committees, office sports teams. And I'll pause here because, again, I know this slide is just kind of highlighting our employee resource groups, but for example, on the next slide, we highlight more of our charitable efforts, which are all done through what we call like CohnReznick Cares. But not only does that focus our attention on adding value and providing, resources, information, meals, etc., to our community, but internally, again, those are just more ways for us to get together, do something a bit different, break up the routine of our day to not only make a meaningful impact, but also expand our networks. And so I've been talking a lot, so I'd love to turn it to my team again. Emily or Sam, do you want to talk about any
Yeah, go out.
Yeah,
other
I'll
ways?
take that, Kai.
Yeah.
So there's a organization, actually probably internationally, Make-A-Wish Foundation. So they dedicate their, their days to helping sick childs and making sure that their dreams come true. So I think it's once a month or, once every other month. We
Yep.
get a group
Bi-monthly.
of our people, and Make-A-Wish either comes to our office or we go to their office, and we help out in any way that we can. And it's super fulfilling. Like, you actually feel that you're making a difference in helping out these kids that have, serious injuries that could, this could be the highlight of their life. And it very fulfilling, and I'm happy that CohnReznick sponsors that.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, so we do a whole bunch of, different donation type activities. So I think in the office right now, there's a coat drive going on. We do like Halloween candy. There was a school supply one a few months ago, things like that. And then Kai, I don't know if you wanted to touch on it, but my favorite thing is the Pay It Forward initiative.
Yes.
So every year for Thanksgiving, first off, it's really great. Thanksgiving, we're closed for a week. I don't know if Kai's gonna touch on that, but we also get additional money in our paycheck that we are able, the purpose is to be able to pay it forward. So however you want to do that, you can do it, whether you want to pay for the person behind you at the drive-through or donate to, a charity of your choice. So every year I like to donate to the Joan Dancy Foundation. It's an organization in Ocean County that helps people impacted by ALS. So it's a very great organization that's near and dear to my family. So every year I love when we get the Pay It Forward initiative in our paycheck, so I can, keep that going.
Yeah, no, thank you both for adding some more examples in. And the last thing I'll really just highlight is keep in mind these opportunities, like everyone at the firm is held accountable for it, right? Like everyone from interns up through our board of directors buy in to our commitment towards giving back to our communities. And so that's what I love to see, the collaboration amongst all levels when we go out. If it's an out of office event, we're all out in the community together, or if it's in office, we're all chipping in to make the experience worthwhile. And so thank you, team, for just chiming in there. But as we kind of further highlight our culture, et cetera, why we like working at the firm we do, I also think it's important to highlight the fact that I don't think any of us go to college not wanting to work for a firm we're proud to tell people we work for, right? And part of that is some of the industry recognition and acknowledgement we get. And so whether it be, industry publications for the nature of the work we provide to our clients, or, just culture-based awards like being recognized as a great place to work, a Newsweek America's Most Loved Workplace, or just the way we interact and engage with Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Handshake, continues to recognize our efforts there from a recruiting and engagement standpoint. So wanted to just share that. So then, again, you do have a glimpse of why we say we work at CohnReznick with a smile on our faces, and why, we are proud to be tied to this organization. But now for your own benefit, right? If you're in the process of thinking about, well, CohnReznick, it's piquing my interest, I'd love to know kind of what they're looking for in candidates. Hopefully this slide does help provide some insight, right? So especially for those of you looking to get into an audit or tax position, the educational requirements are certainly specified here for you. But across all three service lines, some of the other intangibles just being the transferable skills you bring as well, right? The genuine enthusiasm for our firm specifically is what we want to see shine through during the recruiting process, et cetera. And so I think this is just about a good point to pivot now, because there are other qualities and skills I think we look for during the recruiting process that both Sam and Emily obviously embodied, which is why they were on, the firm's radar from a recruiting standpoint. But team, can you just share maybe some of those skills, not only that are helping you thrive in your career now, but in particular, those skills you really could have been developing in college, and perhaps you did, which is why the transition has gone so well for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, as far as like skills that are I would argue very imperative in college is, your typical like time management, organization, growth mindset type of skills. But I think the other thing that I think surprises people sometimes about accounting in general is it's a people-oriented business. So I think doing as much as you can to develop your communication skills, put yourself in uncomfortable positions on purpose. Go to, every career fair, every workshop that Hat is putting on so that you can develop those skills, because you're going to be at, business dinners or things like that where you might not want to talk to everybody, but you have to. And so it's just things like that you can definitely start working on now that really translate into what you're going to be doing later.
Yeah, and to go off the people point, I think, and it's up there, I think leadership is huge, quality for someone going to any field, really. So I grew up playing sports, all throughout my life in college. And I think being a leader, that really, like, it actively converts to the workplace. And I think not just accounting, but in life in general, like if you can lead a group of people, or if people come to you when they have questions, that puts you at such a higher caliber of a person and an employee.
Thank you for that. And so again, the goal here for today was not only to give you a sneak peek right into who we are as a firm, but highlight some of those skills, because I think the technical side of accounting, we consider ourselves a teaching firm. We pride ourselves in that. And so we ensure that we sort of level set with everyone, right? Because we start everyone in cohorts, whether you're joining as a winter intern, a summer intern, or a fall associate, for instance. You're starting with people, and truthfully, you're coming in at varying degrees of technical expertise, right? Some of you might be really strong in Excel. Some of you might have had a prior accounting internship, whereas others of you may not have, right? And so we as a firm, we take that onus upon ourselves, really, to build you up technically to where you need to be. And so, not that it's not important, I think it helps you stand out in a recruiting process if you already possess good technical skills. But the emphasis for today's session is really to hone in on the soft skills they're called, but truly they're probably the hardest to actually acquire and master. But I'll call them the professional skills, right? As the team alluded to, your leadership qualities, developing those as a student, your communication skills, both verbal and written, time management, organization, critical thinking, right? What we do a lot of the times is we get information, and first and foremost, we have to make sense of it. But also, in conducting our analyses, et cetera, the value we add, remember, is to provide forward-thinking solutions, right? And so we need to be able to take that information, analyze it, process it, ask thoughtful questions to really get to the root of the challenges our clients are facing, and then ideally turn back a solution to whatever that toughest business challenge is they're up against, right? And so these are all things you can find ways starting in college to develop. And so really just wanted to hone in on that for a moment, because I think really leveraging your time, not only to be a great student, but preparing yourself to be a great professional, is how you derive the fullest value out of your college experience. And there are a lot of transferable skills you can get while on campus that you can then take into your profession. And this isn't public accounting specific, although, we are here today as a public accounting firm. Okay. So wanted to highlight that for you again. A couple last things before I get into some upcoming opportunities we wanted to bring your attention to, is going back to some of the points Emily made in particular regarding some other cool and unique factors regarding our culture. And that's things like our time off. And I'm very passionate about this one because today I literally just put in a bunch of PTO for the end of the year. So very exciting time right now. But the reason this happens to me every year, truthfully, my paid time off days build up. And that's really because as a firm, we get a good amount of time off even outside of that. Emily alluded to the fact that, yeah, we do as a firm have a week-long shutdown coming up for the whole week of Thanksgiving, right? But we had the same back in the summer for the week of July 4th. And so there are a lot of these built-in, perks and nuances a firm like ours offers that helps balance out, the busy season hours you hear about as students as well, right? We do try and, do our best to take care of our people because at the end of the day, that's how we sustain ourselves. Like we derive our value from the talented people we have working here. And so providing, a great amount of paid time off is one way we do it. Creating unique opportunities for people to connect and get together, like we've already discussed, is another way. Providing incentives, right, to go above and beyond, whether that be, pyramid awards. And I know, Emily, I don't want to put you on the spot. I know you've been the recipient of, one recently. I don't know if you want to share with the group, like what a pyramid award is. How does that incentivize our people?
So we have what we call our pyramid values. So it's our core values that, we try to embody every single day at work. You should probably embody them outside of work too, but, so every year during our busy season kickoff, we come together, we have, a breakfast, we go through busy season expectations, and then they present pyramid awards for the year. So you get there's an award for each letter of pyramid. And so this year I was the recipient of the Developing Opportunities Pyramid Award. And it's because of reasons like this, because I get to come hang out with you guys and talk about the firm and why I love my job. And I get to do fun things with the interns and entry levels when they start. And I'm super passionate, like I said earlier, about sculpting my staff and making them as good as they can be. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
Yes, and well deserved. But
Thank you.
again, these are the sort of opportunities, right? Other things that, I want to highlight for you is early access to leadership, early access to, taking control and ownership of your career. And I think Sam's a great testament to that, and he already spoke to it. But the fact that he's here today, just about a year into his career, now spreading the word, serving as an ambassador essentially of our brand, that's something, one, we obviously feel he's capable of doing, which is why we're proud to allow him the opportunity. But it's also rewarding people that are vocal and raise their hands about wanting to get involved with these sort of things. And so hopefully all of that gives you a glimpse, right, into the sort of culture we have going on here and why our people do genuinely like working here, right? And so before we wrap up, a couple things I do just want to also make mention of is first and foremost, please take a moment. So this is our New York Metro campus recruiting team. Both myself and Jonette, I oversee assurance on the back end, Jonette tax. And take a moment if you would like, if we sound like a firm you want to hear, more regarding upcoming events, key opportunities we have going on, etc. Take a picture of the QR code on the screen. I highly recommend that, not just so you hear direct updates from our recruiting team, but also because if you were to check our early careers page as of today, you will see that there are no internships currently posted, right? And for that reason, I want to highlight that's because in public accounting, we do recruit so far in advance, anywhere from 12 to 18 months prior to the actual start date, we're already filling those positions essentially, right? And so the next upcoming opportunities you'll start to see added are going to be our 2027 internships, both winter and summer. So our winter internships run from January through March or April, depending on whether assurance or tax, as well as another ACE program, but the one specifically designed for freshmen and sophomores will be hosting again next summer. So summer of 2026. We have not yet opened the applications for that yet either. Both the applications for our summer 2026 freshman and sophomore ACE program, as well as our 2027 internships, are going to get posted come January, okay? And so you're going to be hearing a lot about that come the spring semester, but the first people that are going to get notified are those who we've connected with this semester who scanned this QR code and filled out that form, which is why I really wanted to bring your attention to that, okay? And the next thing I do just want to share is, again, if you were to use this QR code, go to our early career opportunities page today. The only opportunity you would currently see in New York or New Jersey that may be of interest to you is, and Sam alluded to it, but that's an ACE program we're hosting next week in our Parsippany, New Jersey offices, okay, which is our largest New Jersey office, our smaller office being in Homedale. But this office visit, it's for all levels of college students. And essentially, we're hosting an open house for you to really get a chance to engage with our professionals. We want you there getting a feel for our office culture, meeting our teams. And so that event is taking place next Wednesday, November 5th. I'll pull up the QR code shortly for that event specifically, but we would love to have you. It's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. next Wednesday. And so please do. Let me actually pull that up for you all now before.
Would it be okay for me to, have people in my advanced class now?
Yeah, for sure. Kai, I don't know if you heard, but I know we have the flyer on our side. So I actually passed them out and I gave them to Dr. Collier, and she's gonna, inform her class
Okay,
about it.
great. And just so you're aware, your career services professionals, they're already aware of the event as well. And so you might get some additional promotion
Oh,
from
cool.
them.
Okay.
But yes, I don't know. Can you see it up on the screen now as well?
Yep. All good.
Perfect. So again, if interested, if you have the time, the interest, and would love to get more of a great opportunity, informal opportunity to really see us in our natural environment when we're not on your campus, but you're in our space, feel free to go ahead, register prior to the deadline, which is this Friday, okay? And so wanted to bring that to your attention lastly before we open it up to questions.
Thanks, Kai.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Do you have any FDU interns right now?
So we just started, so our entry levels just onboarded. They're actually in just outside of Chicago this week doing their entry level training. So we do have an FDU entry level, which is very exciting. As far as interns go, so interns don't start till January, and so I know nothing about that. Kai, I don't know if you can speak on that, if there's any FDU folks.
Yes. So full transparency, I speak to so many students. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you the number we have coming in this winter, but we regularly do have FDU students interning with us because FDU is one of our core schools in New Jersey. And so we do certainly highly seek after FDU students, in particular in our New Jersey offices. Yes.
I did last year, this, the German, last beginning of this year.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions while we're here?
We got people on.
Yeah, Metro, do you guys have questions? Oh, yep. What's up?
So specifically more for the audit side?
Yeah.
Like what is something like, what are like the day-to-day activities that like like an audit intern was doing?
Sam, you might want
Yeah,
to speak to
I
that.
was
Yeah.
still an intern. So I guess day to day, so I guess as an intern, it's not like you're going to like get coffee and stuff. Like you do the activities what an associate would do. So you would pretty much do like what I would be doing. No, slightly less in terms of like
It would be
complexity.
in more like bite-sized pieces in
That's right.
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dealing with like cash confirmations, so sending confirmations out to third parties. Yeah, I guess some of the, you touch equity, we probably touch a bunch of the audit area. But like Emily said, more of a bite-sized piece of it.
I will say, so my goal for my interns when they start with me is I try to expose them to as much of the audit process as possible.
Mhm.
So we start from even just like the smallest planning forms, and then I help them like work their way up. So then they start with like cash, and then maybe they'll help us test purchase and sales of investments, and then we'll head into equity, and I'll have them trace out capital call notices to the bank statements and things like that. So it's just giving people as much opportunity as possible, but you're doing the same work that you would be doing as an entry level associate would be doing.
Gotcha. And just to build off of that, so if you're like the internship and audit, would you have exposure to other areas, like, for example, tax or advisory as well? Or are you mainly just sticking within that service?
I'm gonna let Kai answer that one.
Yes, so I'll jump in. So the way our internships are structured now, you intern in a particular service line, right? So if you were an audit intern, you would essentially be working in audit. You may get exposure to multiple industries within audit, but in terms of service line exposure for the duration of that internship, you stick to one service line. So it would be assurance, it would be tax, or it would be that advisory team you're interning with during that current cycle. Okay. But what happens is sometimes, and this is why internships are so valuable, right? You might come in and do an audit internship with us, and that can either confirm, you know what, this is where I want to receive a full-time offer, or you might have the audit internship and realize, you know what, actually, I think based on maybe having other internship experience or based on the coffee chats I've had with, tax professionals here at the firm, things I've heard, the tax interns working on, et cetera, or just based on your courses, right? You might say, actually, now having this audit internship made me realize tax is the direction I want to take my career. And so that's why it really is a great value add to try and get that internship experience before making a full-time commitment, I would say, to any firm for that matter. And sorry, just to elaborate further on the first question as well, what you get exposure to, one is dependent on the industry as well, right? So some of the testing you might be doing in financial services won't be applicable if you're working on like a hospitality client, right? Or renewable energy, et cetera. But what I will say is, and I think the team did a good job of alluding to, titles don't really dictate the exposure you're able to get at CohnReznick, and that can be by way of networking or socializing, right? We have an open door policy in general. As an intern, you can come in, you can have FaceTime with partners, right? If hopefully you're confident, you're putting yourself out there, but also hopefully you find that our leadership, they're just as approachable and friendly, and they're proactive in, welcoming our new hires and creating a comfortable environment for them. So not just from the social aspect, but in terms of the work you get exposure to, it's the same thing, right? Your title doesn't dictate what you're able to see. The speed in which you catch on, you grasp concepts, you complete tasks, that's really what dictates how much you're able to see throughout the course of your internship, right? If the work is there and it's available, we don't say, no, you're an intern, you don't get access to it, right? We say, no, you have the capacity and it's there. By all means, let me, one, teach you how to do it. Let me also explain why you're doing it, right? So that way, as you progress in your career, you understand the value behind the different tasks we do and how it rolls up into the bigger picture of an audit or a tax return preparation, et cetera.
And just to add on to that, I will say my expectation of an intern is that if you're assigned to a specific engagement team with me, you are to attend every call possible that the team is having. That way it helps you build your relationship, but also, sure, you might not know a single thing that we're talking about on that call, but maybe by the fourth call, you finally picked up and like now you're starting to put the pieces together. Or after the first call, you asked me, hey, what did X, Y, and Z mean? And I will gladly explain it to you. But you're just as much of the team as everybody else is, even though you're going to leave and we're still going to be working on the client. So my expectation is that you sit down on all the calls.
Yeah.
Great. I have another question, actually. So I was well aware of this, this ACE, event that's happening in 2 weeks, 1 week? Soon.
Next week.
Next week. Yeah.
What are some of the things that you guys are looking for in terms of the applicants? Because I know it's like you have to apply to get admitted or to get information about the event. What are some of the qualities of the people you're looking for that?
Yeah, so great question. And to your point, you are correct, right? Everyone that registers, it is an application. A lot of it's due to the fact that, you know, for capacity reasons, right? We can't just bring literally everyone and host them in office at once. But this program specifically for the chance to engage with our audit and tax professionals. And so for that reason, one of the qualifications from an educational standpoint, for example, is it is strictly limited to accounting majors, right? Those looking to become CPA eligible, for example. But then beyond that, you know, depending on how many applicants we end up getting by end of day Friday, et cetera, we then start to look at, okay, who's the candidate we deem to be the strongest, who has the strongest profile overall, right? So maybe it is your academic standing, you know, GPA, how many concentrated courses have you taken to this point? You know, do you have relevant experience already, et cetera? The reason being, our ACE programs are really a pipeline to our internships, which are then a pipeline to our full-time positions, et cetera. And so at the end of the day, we do desire, obviously, the strongest talent or those we deem to be closest and furthest along in their progression towards developing themselves as a student, but also developing those transferable skills that would make the strong case for a potential internship come the time they're ready to apply. So that was a bit broad in some regards of a response, but hopefully that provides some context as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
If nobody else has any questions, I'm gonna pop my email and Sam's email in the chat. If anybody just wanted to reach out. But also you can connect with us on LinkedIn too.
I had
That's
one quick question.
Yeah, go
if I
for
may.
it.
Well, firstly, thank you guys for this presentation. It was very informative. When can we expect to hear back if we applied for the upcoming event?
Yes. So given the deadline is this Friday, you can expect to hear back by end of day Monday with confirmation on, you know, whether you've been admitted to the event, and you'll also receive like the final details and logistics regarding everything taking place that day. Okay, so
Awesome.
end of day next Monday, November 3rd.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay, so if there aren't any other questions, then I guess we'll wrap it up. Thank you, Kai, Emily, and also Sam for coming and speaking with us today. Like Israel said, very informative. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
helping
us.
coordinate this, Damien.
Of course.
Team, I appreciate your help. All right.
Thanks, Guy. All right, I will chat with you all later. Have a good evening.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, everybody else, just stay behind, I guess, for the attendance. I will screen share it right now. Just 1 second. Also, next week, Golden Sachs will be coming in virtually to come and speak to all of us. So I know you guys have some questions for them. So definitely come in next week and hear what they have to say, etc. Thank you.